makes sense. It's about time. I love that. What does it mean to you, the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame?
It's a beautiful thing, you know. It's lovely to receive flowers, you know. And I promised myself, because when I was coming up, I never took the time.
He calls him brother to his face, but behind closed doors, Lenny Kravitz is finally spilling about his real feelings for Jason Momoa, the man who married his ex-wife, Lisa Bonet. After years of fake smiles and matching skull rings, Kravitz admits what's really going on between them. Lenny Kravitz was born on May 26, 1964 in New York City. His father, Cy Kravitz, was a Russian-Jewish TV producer working for NBC. His mother, Roxy Roker, was a black actress from the Bahamas who became famous for playing Helen Willis on The Jeffersons. Their marriage started with conflict. Cy's parents didn't go to the wedding in 1962 because they didn't want their son marrying a black woman who wasn't Jewish. Roxy faced that tension head-on. She told Lenny early on that he came from two different worlds and both mattered, but she also said that most people would only see him as a black man. Lenny grew up between two very different neighborhoods. During the week, he stayed with his parents in an Upper East Side apartment in Manhattan. On weekends, he went to Bedford-Stuyvesant in Brooklyn to visit his grandmother Bessie. His name had meaning too. He was named after his uncle Leonard Kravitz, who died in the Korean War at age 20. Leonard died while protecting his platoon and was later honored with the Medal of Honor. Years later, in 2011, Lenny found out he was related to NBC weatherman Al Roker. They discovered they were cousins during a live broadcast. In 1974, when Lenny was 10, his family moved to Los Angeles. His mother had just landed her big role on The Jeffersons, and that meant starting over in Hollywood. That move changed everything. Lenny had already shown signs of musical talent. At age 3, he used pots and pans as drums. At 5, he told his parents he wanted to be a musician. That same year, jazz legend Duke Ellington played Happy Birthday for him at his party. His father had deep roots in the jazz world and knew people like Miles Davis and Sarah Vaughan. At 6, Lenny saw the Jackson 5 perform at Madison Square Garden. He said it was the best moment of his life. On his 7th birthday, his father gave him a Yamaha acoustic guitar. At 9, his mother signed him up for guitar lessons at the Harlem School of the Arts. At 11, he joined the California Boys Choir and performed classical music. He even sang at the Hollywood Bowl with the Metropolitan Opera. Those early years built the discipline that would shape his career. In high school, Lenny joined the music program at Beverly Hills High. It wasn't a normal school. His classmates included Nicolas Cage, Gina Gershon, Angelina Jolie/David Schwimmer, and Rob Reiner. He played drums in a school production of Oklahoma, while Nicolas Cage performed on stage. Around this time, he also formed a band called Wave with a friend named Trace Devine. They played local shows and built experience, but things weren't easy at home. His parents' marriage was falling apart. They divorced in 1985. Lenny started smoking weed at age 11, and by 15, he had left home. He didn't want to rely on his parents' connections. He wanted to find his own way. After graduating in 1982, he began chasing his music dreams full-time. He refused help from his parents or their industry friends. He created a stage name called Romeo Blue. He wore blue contact lenses that made his eyes red and painful. He said the name Lenny Kravitz didn't sound cool enough for music. He wanted to be like Prince or Ziggy Stardust. He lived in a rented Ford Pinto for $5 a day and worked low-wage jobs to survive. He cleaned fish, he washed dishes, he sold shoes and clothes. Even with all that effort, he couldn't get a record deal. He moved back to New York in 1986 to restart. Then, in 1987, things started to shift. He met actress Lisa Bonet, who was starring on The Cosby Show. They got married in Las Vegas that November. In 1988, their daughter Zoe was born. Even with his new family, his music still wasn't breaking through. Record labels said he wasn't black enough for R&B and not white enough for rock. In 1989, Lenny Kravitz released his first album, Let Love Rule. It came out on September 6th and sounded nothing like what was popular at the time. The late 80s were filled with polished pop and heavy production. Lenny did the opposite. He wrote the songs. He sang them. He played almost every instrument and produced the album himself. The sound was a mix of rock, soul, funk, and psychedelic energy pulled straight from the 70s. Critics in the US didn't fully embrace it, but the album took off in Europe. Within 5 years, it sold over 2 million copies there. In the US, it didn't even reach 1 million. In 1991, everything shifted. On April 2nd, Lenny released his second album, Mama Said. It came out during a hard time. He and Lisa were separating just 1 year after their daughter Zoe was born. He was also trying to handle sudden fame. The pressure was building. Lenny went quiet for a while and dropped into a deep depression. He later said he barely left the house and poured all of his feelings into the songs. That pain shaped the album. The sound moved forward. It still had a retro feel, but now it leaned into the early 70s. Critics said it could have come out in 1972. Mama Said reached number 39 on the Billboard 200 and went platinum in the US. It sold more than 3 million copies worldwide. One song stood out the most. It Ain't Over Till It's Over had a smooth bass line, a sitar riff string sections, and Lenny's falsetto at its best. That single helped the album become his first real commercial success. Then, in 1993, Lenny had a moment that changed everything. He and guitarist Craig Ross were in Waterfront Studios in Hudson, New York. They had 5 minutes before another band came in. That band was already waiting outside the door. In that short window, Lenny and Craig recorded Are You Gonna Go My Way? They had no idea it would become a career-defining track. The single was released on February 8, 1993. It hit number 1 in Australia and number 4 in the UK. In the US, it dominated rock radio. The video made it even bigger. Directed by Mark Romanek, it showed Lenny wearing a blood-red suede tunic with Cindy Blackman Santana on drums. The look and the energy became iconic. Lenny said the lyrics were meant to sound like the voice of Jesus Christ. Lines like, I was born long ago, and I have come to save the day, gave the song a bold spiritual edge. It earned 2 Grammy nominations for Best Rock Song and Best Rock Vocal Performance. He didn't win that year, but the song pushed him into the spotlight in a way that stuck. Lenny Kravitz never planned to be a pop star. In 1991, he wrote a song called It Ain't Over Till It's Over. He almost gave it to Smokey Robinson. He thought it sounded too mainstream. Kravitz wanted to stay underground, but the song was too strong to ignore. It reached number 2 on the Billboard Hot 100. That one track changed everything. He couldn't walk down the street without someone recognizing him. He had become a household name. 7 years later, another moment like that happened. In 1998, while testing a studio amp, Kravitz started playing around with a riff. It wasn't planned. It wasn't even part of the album. The song that came out of that jam was Fly Away. At first, he didn't want to include it on his new album 5, but a friend heard it and pushed him to keep it. Soon after, Peugeot used the song in a car commercial in the UK. That ad made the track a massive hit overseas. It reached number 1 in Britain. Suddenly, 5 had momentum. The album had been released on May 12, 1998. At first, it didn't do well. Reviews were mixed. Critics said it didn't match the strength of his earlier work. It didn't sell much. But when Fly Away took off, the album came back to life. It stayed on the Billboard Top 200 for 2 full years. By September 2nd, 1999, the album had sold 2 million copies in the US. It was certified 2 times multi-platinum. This album also marked a change in his sound. Kravitz started using digital tools in the studio. Before this, he had stuck to analog gear. Now, he was blending new techniques with classic styles. The risk worked. The album helped place him next to artists like Sly Stone and Curtis Mayfield. He was no longer just borrowing their sound. He was now part of that conversation. In 2000, he released Greatest Hits. It came out on October 24th. Some thought it was too soon for a collection like that, but it became the best-selling album of his career. It sold 10 million copies worldwide. In the US alone, it moved 4,709,000 units and earned a 3 times platinum certification by April 2001. It also went 4 times platinum in Canada and 3 times platinum in Europe. It was a global success. The album only had one new song. That song was again. It climbed to number 4 on the Billboard Hot 100 and won him another Grammy. The collection hit number 2 on the Billboard 200 and stayed on the chart for over 75 weeks. Even fans who had overlooked his past albums came back around. The sound was familiar but fresh, retro but modern. That balance reached a wider audience than ever before. Then came the Grammy streak. From 1999 to 2002, Kravitz won Best Male Rock Vocal Performance 4 years in a row. It started with Fly Away in 1999. Then came American Woman in 2000. Again, followed in 2001. In 2002, he won with Dig In. No other artist had ever won that award 4 times in a row. Bruce Springsteen had 3. That was the record before Kravitz broke it. During those years, pop music was everywhere. Acts like Britney Spears and the Backstreet Boys were topping the charts. Rock was fading, but Kravitz held his place. His voice and style gave the genre new energy right when it was needed most. In 1985, Lenny Kravitz was still using the name Romeo Blue. He was unknown, just a young musician trying to find his place. That year, he went to a New Edition concert in California. That's where he saw Lisa Bonet for the first time. She was already famous from The Cosby Show. He spotted her stepping into an elevator. His heart started racing. He said something about her hair. It wasn't smooth, but it didn't matter. Later backstage, they talked again, and something clicked. He said it felt like time stopped. They didn't start dating right away. They became friends first. Over the next 2 years, that friendship grew. At one point, Lisa even let him sleep on her couch. By 1987, they became a couple. Lenny moved into her house in Venice. He set up his instruments in one room, and the music started flowing. He said the songs just came to him. Lisa changed everything. Before her, he didn't know who he was, still hiding behind a made-up name. But through her, he found his real voice. She co-wrote 2 songs on his first album. She also helped shape his image. When he moved in, he forgot his comb. His hair started locking. Lisa looked at him and said he should keep it. That moment gave him the dreadlocks that would become part of his look for years. They got married on November 16, 1987. It was Lisa's 20th birthday. They eloped in Las Vegas at a place called A Chapel of Love. On December 1st, 1988, their daughter was born. They named her Zoe Isabella Kravitz. Lenny said they had their own world, a style, a rhythm. People called him Mr. Bonet, but he didn't care. He said he was proud to be with her. Still, he admits he focused too much on music. Their relationship ended in 1991. The divorce was finalized in 1993. Zoe was just 2 years old. Meanwhile, Jason Momoa's story didn't start with Hollywood. He was born in Hawaii in 1979, but raised in Iowa by his mother. At 19, he was studying marine biology at the University of Hawaii when his life took a sharp turn. A local fashion designer named Takeo Kobayashi spotted him and encouraged him to try modeling. That led to an audition for Baywatch, Hawaii in 1999. He got the part, beating over 1,000 other actors. It was his first role and it made him recognizable, but it didn't open doors. After Baywatch, he struggled for years. He couldn't find an agent. Nobody took him seriously as an actor. He later said the role brought him no respect. With what little money he earned, he traveled the world. He called himself a rock-climbing bum and lived out of a van. In 2008, something life-changing happened. He was attacked at the Bird Cafe in Hollywood. A man smashed a pint glass into his face. Momoa needed reconstructive surgery and got over 140 stitches. The cut left a deep scar above his left eyebrow. It changed his appearance. He stopped being seen as just a good-looking guy. The scar gave him a tougher image. It worked in his favor. In 2010, his career finally turned around. The creators of Game of Thrones saw his photo on a fan casting site. They thought he looked exactly like Khal Drogo. He auditioned by performing a haka. It impressed them. He got the role. He only appeared in the first season, but it made a huge impact. Suddenly, Hollywood was paying attention. In 2011, right after Game of Thrones, he received the CinemaCon Rising Star Award. Lionsgate called him the next unstoppable action hero. That same year, he played the lead in Conan the Barbarian. In 2012, he earned a Screen Actors Guild nomination as part of the Game of Thrones cast. Then came Aquaman. In 2014, Zack Snyder secretly cast him in the DC Extended Universe. He first appeared briefly in Batman vs. Superman in 2016 and Justice League in 2017. In 2018, Aquaman was released. It made over $1.1 billion worldwide. It became the highest-grossing DC movie of all time. His version of Aquaman was wild, bold, and completely different from what people expected. That role changed everything. Before Aquaman, he said he took roles just to support his family. After it, he could choose. He landed the lead in C on Apple TV+. He joined Dune in 2021 and Fast X in 2023. He's also set to return as Lobo in Supergirl, World of Tomorrow. Awards followed. In 2017, he was nominated at the Canadian Screen Awards for Frontier. In 2019, he won the Jupiter Award for Best International Actor for Aquaman. That same year, he got nominations at the MTV Movie and TV Awards, Teen Choice Awards, and Kids' Choice Awards. In 2024, he was nominated again at the People's Choice Awards. Jason Momoa met Lisa Bonet in 2005 at a jazz club in Los Angeles. For him, it wasn't just a meeting. It was the moment he had been waiting for since he was 8 years old. Back then, he watched Lisa on The Cosby Show, where she played Denise Huxtable. He had a crush on her for years. By the time they met, she had already been divorced from Lenny Kravitz since 1993. But there was something most people didn't know. When Jason met Lisa, he was already engaged. He had been with actress Simone Jade McKinnon since 1999. They met while filming Baywatch and had been together for 6 years. In 2004, they got engaged. That ended suddenly in 2005 when Jason started dating Lisa. He never looked back. For a long time, people believed Jason and Lisa had gotten married in 2007. That wasn't true. They didn't get legally married until October 2017. Still, their relationship was solid. In July 2007, they welcomed their first child, a daughter named Lola Iolani. Just over a year later, in December 2008, their son was born. His name was Nakoa Wolf Manakawapo Namakaiha Momoa. Jason chose names that honored his native Hawaiian roots. The family was known not just for their connection, but also for how much the children looked like their parents. Lola looked just like Lisa. Nakoa Wolf had Jason's face and his wild hair. They all shared the same long curl. In January 2024, at the Beverly Hills screening of the documentary Common Ground, Jason walked the red carpet with both of his kids. Lola was 16. Nakoa Wolf was 15. The three of them stood together, smiling. The divorce had just been finalized, but Jason still looked proud. What stood out most about Jason and Lisa's story was the bond Jason formed with Lisa's ex-husband. Jason and Lenny Kravitz didn't just get along, they became close friends. Lenny once called Jason a big teddy bear. In 2018, they even got matching skull rings from an artist named Leroy, who made them by hand. The kids grew up calling Lenny Uncle. When Zoe Kravitz starred in The Batman in 2022, and neither Lisa nor Lenny could attend the premiere, Jason took Lola and Nakoa Wolf. He told reporters he was there for Zoe, because they were all still family. But behind the scenes, things had already started to change. In January 2022, Jason and Lisa announced they were separating. What the public didn't know was that they had actually been apart since October 7th, 2020. After being together for 17 years, Lisa filed for divorce in January 2024. The process was fast. It was finalized just 1 day later on January 9th. Everything had already been agreed on in private. The reason for the split came down to lifestyle. Jason's work kept him traveling around the world. Lisa wanted to stay in Los Angeles. Over time, they simply drifted in different directions. Since the divorce, Jason has taken on a nomadic lifestyle. In a recent interview, he said he doesn't even have a home. He lives on the road while filming his documentary series, On the Roam. At 44, he has moved forward. It wasn't the kind of friendship anyone expected. Lenny Kravitz had just ended his 6-year marriage to Lisa Bonet in 1993. More than a decade later, Bonet began dating Jason Momoa. That's usually a setup for distance or even bitterness. But what happened instead was something rare. When Kravitz first met Momoa around 2005, he felt felt an instant connection. Literally the moment we met, he said years later, we were like, oh yeah, I love this dude. It didn't matter that Momoa had grown up with a crush on Bonet. It didn't matter that Kravitz was the ex. What mattered was the bond they felt right away. Still, it wasn't instant harmony. Kravitz has said that relationships like this take work. Healing takes time, but that effort paid off. By 2019, he was calling Momoa his brother. The kind of brotherhood built not on blood, but on mutual respect and care. Their connection didn't just live behind closed doors. It showed up online again and again. In 2018, Momoa gave Kravitz a skull ring made by a custom artist he admired. They each wore one. He posted a photo of the rings with a message of thanks and called it "Spreading the Aloha." It wasn't just a gift, it was a statement. Kravitz returned the gesture with a backstage photo from Saturday Night Live, where Momoa was hosting. He captioned it simply, "My brother is doing his thing." The following summer, Kravitz posted a photo that said even more. It was a birthday tribute. The two of them were laughing and embracing. He wrote, "Happy birthday, brother. Love and respect always. Ohana till the end." That word, ohana, meant everything. It's a Hawaiian word for family. And for Momoa, who is native Hawaiian, it held real weight. Then came the image that defined their bond. March 19th, 2022. Kravitz posted a photo of the two of them sitting on motorcycles. Momoa was behind him, arms around him. The caption read, "Ride or die. Brothers for life." What made it powerful wasn't just the image, it was the timing. 2 months earlier, Momoa and Bonet had announced the end of their 16-year relationship. That could have fractured things, but it didn't. Momoa replied instantly, "Love you, bro. Ohana for life." Even Zoe Kravitz, Lenny's daughter and Momoa's stepdaughter, added to the moment. "Well, isn't this just adorable? Love you both so much." A few weeks before that post, Momoa had shown up at the New York premiere of The Batman with Lola and Nakoa Wolf, his and Bonet's children. He was there to support Zoe, who played Catwoman. When asked why he showed up, Momoa said it plainly, "We're still family." That sense of family runs deep. In 2024, Kravitz spoke again about his friendship with Momoa. Even after the divorce from Bonet, nothing had changed between them. "We're family. We will be family. There's no judgment," he said. It wasn't about obligation. It was about something more real. They had built a connection that didn't depend on marriage or labels. It simply was. Kravitz takes pride in being called Uncle Lenny by Momoa and Bonet's children. He's close with them, and when he couldn't attend Zoe's film premiere, it was Momoa who stepped in. He told Kravitz, "I got you." Then he brought the kids and showed up for Zoe. For Kravitz, that wasn't just nice. It was beautiful, but he didn't think it was extraordinary. "This is just normal to me," he said. It took time to get there. Kravitz has never pretended otherwise. After the divorce, it wasn't easy to rebuild the relationship, but he stayed committed to it. He said the love never really left. It just had to evolve. It has to find a new way to funnel itself into a new life, he explained. What once was romantic became familial, and over time, the bond held. In 2013, on Oprah's Masterclass, he talked about that transition. He said divorce taught him a lot. It forced him to rethink how to stay close, how to be a good father, how to move forward without cutting ties. By 2019, he and Bonet weren't just on good terms. He described them as like brother and sister. It was a relationship that had changed but not ended.